The arena was silent for a split second before the roar of the crowd crashed like thunder. Naoya Inoue stood in the center of the ring, his breathing measured, his eyes locked with an intensity that seemed to slice through the air. Across from him, Murajon Akhmadaliev steadied himself, shoulders rolling, a veteran's composure barely masking the storm gathering inside. The bell had barely echoed when Inoue's rhythm began to dictate everything, his footwork light, his stance deliberate, his gaze calculating. The first round unfolded like a tense conversation. Each jab and feint told a story of respect, testing the edges of each other's defense. Akhmadaliev tried to disrupt the flow, but Inoue's precision was like a needle threading through chaos. By the second round, the crowd sensed the undertow pulling the fight towards something unforgettable. Inoue's left hand flickered like lightning, setting traps no one else could see. Akhmadaliev absorbed the shots, nodding as if to say, "I'm still here." But every movement betrayed the growing weight of Inoue's strategy. The challenger's guard began to crack, almost imperceptibly, yet the photographers caught it all. The third round was a slow tightening of the noose. Sweat shone on both fighters, but Inoue moved as though time itself bent to his will. Akhmadaliev's counters landed, but they lacked the sharpness to halt the advancing tide. The crowd leaned forward, sensing a storm about to break. By the fourth round, the tension in the arena became a living thing. Every punch carried the sound of inevitability. Inoue's timing was uncanny, his left side coiled with a quiet menace. Akhmadaliev dug deep, fighting not just the man before him but the growing echo of doubt in his own mind. Then came the fifth round. The moment that would replay in countless highlight reels, in slow-motion replays and in the memories of everyone watching. A feint to the right drew Akhmadaliev's attention, a subtle invitation to step forward. And then, like a thunderbolt, the left kick lashed out. It was not just a strike, it was a statement. The impact cracked through the arena like a gunshot. Akhmadaliev's head snapped sideways, his body recoiling as though struck by fate itself. The crowd erupted, a wave of disbelief and awe surging through every seat. Photographers at ringside captured the exact instant of contact. One frame froze Akhmadaliev's face in an expression of shock and defiance, eyes wide as if realizing the truth mid-blow. Another frame caught Inoue's balance, the perfect geometry of power and precision. It was art and violence colliding in a single heartbeat. Akhmadaliev staggered, his legs betraying him for the first time in the fight. He tried to regroup, blinking against the sudden fog. The referee stepped closer, watchful, aware that a career can pivot on such fragile seconds. But Akhmadaliev's pride held him upright, even as the ring seemed to tilt beneath his feet. The bell ended the round, but the damage lingered. Inoue returned to his corner calm, almost serene, as if he'd simply followed an inevitable script. His trainers whispered strategy, but his eyes never left his opponent. The predator had tasted blood. Akhmadaliev's team worked frantically, pressing ice against swelling skin, urging him to clear his head. He nodded, but later he would admit, something strange happened in the fifth round. Strange, because he had never felt a strike rattle his senses so completely. Strange, because time itself seemed to bend in that moment, stretching the instant of impact into eternity. The sixth round began under a shadow. Akhmadaliev's movements carried the subtle drag of someone fighting both an opponent and an echo inside his skull. Inoue sensed it immediately, applying pressure with merciless precision. The crowd could feel the shift. What had been a contest was becoming a coronation. Every punch Inoue threw was a study in control. His left hand, the same that delivered the seismic kick, found openings that weren't there seconds before. Akhmadaliev fought back with courage, but courage alone cannot rewrite physics. Each exchange tilted further toward the inevitable. The seventh round was a master class in finishing. Inoue tightened the ring, cutting off every escape, his movements a symphony of speed and intent. Akhmadaliev's counters grew desperate, each swing a gamble against time. The audience knew they were witnessing the peak of a champion's craft. Inoue finally unleashed a combination that forced the referee's hand. The stoppage was not a mercy but an acknowledgement of reality. The crowd erupted again, a mixture of admiration and sheer exhilaration. The cameras flashed like starlight, capturing the victor's quiet nod. After the fight, reporters swarmed. Akhmadaliev stood tall despite the loss, his voice steady as he repeated, "In fact, something strange happened in the fifth round." He did not speak of pain, but of a disorienting surge, a moment where the world tilted and sound seemed to fold inward. A moment only fighters truly understand. Inoue, ever composed, spoke of preparation, of respect, of the discipline that forged the strike. He made no boast, offered no theatrics. For him, the left kick was not magic, only mastery. Yet everyone watching knew they had witnessed something more than mere technique. The photographer who caught the decisive image described it later as the heartbeat of violence. His photos showed the instant before impact, sweat suspended in the air, both fighters framed in brutal symmetry. It was a picture that needed no caption, an eternal record of human will and fragility. Collectors would bid fortunes for it, but no price could match the electricity of being there. The world would replay the moment endlessly, on screens, in articles, in whispered retellings. Fans would argue about the best strike of Inoue's career, analysts would dissect the mechanics, coaches would study the timing. But for those in the arena, the memory was more visceral. They would remember the sound, the low, shocking crack of destiny. Children in gyms would mimic the move, their trainers shaking heads, knowing how rare such precision is. Commentators would elevate the bout to legend, weaving it into the long tapestry of boxing history. For Akhmadaliev, it would become a pivot point, a night of pain and revelation. For Inoue, it was another chapter in a career of relentless excellence. The left kick became a symbol, shorthand for inevitability. Fans spoke of it with the reverence usually reserved for knockouts that redefined divisions. Even weeks later, arenas buzzed with echoes of that fifth round. It was not just a fight, it was a reminder of how fragile balance can be. Under the lights that night, two men shared something beyond victory and defeat. They touched the edges of what combat truly means: risk, respect, and the sudden flash of something unexplainable. Akhmadaliev would heal, train, and return, his spirit unbroken. Inoue would continue forward, the weight of legend following his every step. The crowd dispersed slowly, reluctant to leave the charged air behind. Outside, the city pulsed with the stories already being told. Strangers became companions in retelling the strike, each memory slightly different yet equally odd. The fight had ended, but its echo was just beginning. And somewhere, on a photographer's lens, the moment remains eternal. A single frame of heartbreak and brilliance. A testament to the split second when power, timing, and destiny met in the silence before the storm.